Going to have a fun podcast today with Andy Petterson. He founded the Fishing Minnesota Facebook group and also Ice Fishing Minnesota, the Facebook group. All together, they have close to 100,000 members, if not more than that. So this guy's the real deal. We're going to talk ice fishing. Let's get loaded. Andy, it's so exciting to finally be able to talk with you, not in person necessarily, but this is the next best thing through Skype, and I'm mastering this technology. Slowly but surely. Mastering is probably not the best way to describe it. Every time I do these podcasts and Skype and everything, I'm feeling I'm getting a better handle on things. Believe it or not, I'm not the most technologically advanced dude, even though I'm a videographer and all that stuff. I'm kind of stupid when it comes to technical things. So, but I'm
advancing.
What's that?
It's always changing and stuff, so it's hard to keep on top.
Yeah, I can't keep on top with all this stuff. That's exactly right. But by the way, I do want to talk to you about all the advances in ice fishing, but that's a little bit down on my list. But first, sure. I kind of want to talk you're one of these guys that it seems to me that you have more of a love for ice fishing than you do for open water fishing. And I find that absolutely fascinating because, first of all, I love fishing, period. Yeah. But when I was born in Minnesota, I grew up in Minnesota, but for work and everything else, I've lived in different places. When I moved back up to Minnesota, I saw this phenomenon that there are guys that would rather be on hard water than open water fishing. So tell me how that started for you.
I'm definitely one of those guys. I catch a lot of flack from my buddies and stuff that are the opposite of me, but I don't know if there's just something about ice that I love, and I'm not taking anything away from open water. I love open water fishing too, but I often say that there's not a time where I've been sitting on the ice and say that I wish I was in my boat, but there's been a ton of times where I was in my boat wishing I was on the ice
because it was too hot, or I
don't know. I can't tell you. I just have a love for ice, and I'm not good with heat. Yeah. I don't like the bugs and sure. stuff like that. But maybe it's just my Norwegian blood. I don't know.
There you go. There you go. I'm underdog, so I know what you're talking about there. Although the thing that is great about ice fishing is that it is an equalizer in a lot of ways. Anybody can, as long as there's safe ice, the whole lake opens up to people, to anybody. And so that is a great thing about ice fishing. But you have a boat, so it doesn't matter. You can still go anywhere you want on a lake.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
So
I just the whole tradition of ice fishing, I just love. I love seeing the old, grumpy old men type
sure.
shacks out there, and seeing the old pictures, and just the tradition and the history of it is something that I hold dear and I love a lot.
How did you get started fishing?
With my dad's an outdoorsman. So he drugged me out in the boat and out ice fishing and stuff, ever since pretty much I could walk. But yeah, it was either, fishing or in the woods doing something, or, pretty much outdoors somewhere.
Yeah, developed from your dad.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so important. So how old were you?
I got pictures of me holding fish before I can remember. So sure. I'd probably say, I grew up on the Iron Range.
Yeah.
And moved down to the St. Cloud area here when I was about 5. And, I got pictures from up in the Iron Range. So I'd probably say somewhere between 3 and 5.
Okay.
Yeah.
A long time. Right on. I can't really remember. I was maybe around that, maybe 6 or 7 when maybe I first fished, something like that. But yeah, it's always been a part of my life. What's kind of interesting to see, it seems like there's more and more, I don't know, probably because of social media I'm noticing this. I'm not sure if it's really just the case in general in fishing, but it seems there are more people getting into it later. And I got to keep telling myself that because, I've been a videographer. I've been doing this, filming fishing, been in this industry for 20 years, coming up on 20 years now. Actually, yeah, almost exactly 20 years. I started Bass Pro Shops in the video production department January 2000. So 20 years. And I've been doing it for so long that I've just kind of like, I forgot that there's people that don't know different techniques. And I've shot so many tips through the years that I'm like, do we have to do another tip, but yeah, there's more and more people coming online, if you will, in the fishing, and it is important to give information out there as far as like how to do different things. And but I forget that because I've been doing it for so long, just being a fisherman, and then also just filming tips and stuff for different clients.
Yeah.
But
and we see that every day on the pages. People will come in and say that they're new to the hobby and kind of looking where to start.
Absolutely.
What's the best way to invest their money right off the bat, for ice fishing. And some of these people are, 30, 40, 50 years old. Lately, there's been a lot of women that have been coming into the sport, which is awesome.
Mm-hmm. For sure. Yeah, the women on ice. And
yep, and Wham is another one that's big on our pages. And it's cool to see kind of the evolution of it just not being, the stereotypical big burly man sitting in the fish house drinking beer and telling stories.
Yeah, totally. I couldn't agree more. I mean, that's fine. And you were talking earlier kind of about the culture of ice fishing. Mm-hmm. And I love characters,
Sure.
I love, interesting, big, burly guy. I mean, that's hilarious. Some of ththese guys are just hilarious. But I think the great thing about fishing, and I see it working with the Wild West Bass Trail, I've been emceeing their tournaments out west, California, Nevada. Different races, ages, gender. I think it's fantastic. It really just it can appeal to everyone. So, good point. So did you start Fishing Minnesota first, the Facebook group?
No, I started Ice Fishing Minnesota first.
Oh, okay. And so that is a huge group. You have 65,000 members.
Yeah.
So when did you start that?
5 years ago.
Is that right?
Something like that.
5 years ago.
I pretty much started it right when the groups become an option on Facebook.
Okay.
The way it had started is I created it for me and my friends to kind of share spots, share, details on lakes and, ice, ice conditions and stuff like that. And, so I opened it up and I had, invited, my 5-6 good friends that I trust to share these tips with.
Sure.
And all of a sudden it just started getting flooded with people. And I mean, we had, 8,000 members in a matter of hours.
Wow.
And so kind of changed the direction of
Sure.
what Ice Fishing Minnesota was going to be. And it was really, it was overwhelming. It was kind of, at the same, it was a little scary actually, because it was just like, well, what am I going to do with this? You know, I didn't really have the intentions of it getting, as big as what it is and what it's become. And, it's been a cool ride.
Is that the biggest? Gosh, is that one of the biggest Facebook fishing groups? I mean, that's huge.
Yeah. There's one other one out there, Ice Junkies, that has they have a few thousand more people, but they're more of across the Midwest area, where we're just specifically Minnesota. But
yeah, that's a huge number.
Yeah,
huge number for one state.
It's crazy.
So, and by the way, and then you obviously have Fishing Minnesota as well. And I want to personally thank you for putting up with my antics with promoting another fishing show and Angling Uploaded on there. I know I reached out to you, go, hey, dude, I just want to, is this okay? I try not to be like spammy, honest to God, but it's like trying to get the word out about, what we're doing and really Facebook groups, particularly yours, has been a good way for us to do that. So just personally, I want to thank you for allowing us to do that.
Not a problem at all. I've been following you since you started. I love your stuff, and we're very glad to have you.
Yeah, thank you. So, did you go to the St. Paul Ice Show by any chance? Were you there?
I actually skipped out on it and went fishing.
Did you? Where'd you go?
Yeah. We went up to Red, and then we also fished around the Bemidji area. Me and some of my ice fishing Minnesota staff buddies.
Okay, right on.
It was something we planned and then kind of realized, like, oh crap, that's the same weekend as the St. Paul Ice Show.
Right.
I probably should have been there, but the ice was calling, and I had to go.
What's your Well, I'll get to that. But so I went on Friday. So it goes Friday, Saturday, Sunday,
Yep.
and I went Friday, kind of like early before work got out for people, because I was like, I wanted to shoot some stuff. Film
Sure.
some stuff for Angling Uploaded. And so I'd been there one time before, I think. But my God, I mean, it's crazy.
Right.
Like it was there were a lot of people starting to come in when I was there. Luckily I could set up my tripod and get what I needed. And it was a good call on my part, because guys were like saying, oh, dude, Saturday, you won't be able to, move in here. I'm like, okay, well, I'm glad I came, but.
And Sunday's even worse.
Yeah.
That's when everybody thinks that the best deals are going to be, because people don't want to pack the stuff back up.
Yeah, it's so funny. I'm seeing people like walk out of there with like augers, and I mean, it's just, I don't know. That cracks me up, but,
it's a crazy show. I mean,
yeah,
I'm one of these people that I'm not a huge fan of big crowds.
Believe it or not, I'm not either, man. Like,
yeah, so I get in there and I'm looking for the doors and
shoulder
to shoulder with people, and
I mean, I'm thinking, okay, for what I'm trying to do at Angling Uploaded. So just to give you a quick idea what, because us from like doing another fishing show.
Sure.
I decided to switch gears and start up Angling Uploaded, because first of all, it's not like we were on fire with another fishing show by any means, as far as like we were growing super slow, and I don't know,
which you should have been.
Well, I
never understood that.
Here's the thing, dude. When we came up with the idea for another fishing show, we didn't have any clue about YouTube. We had no clue about what was happening on YouTube. We had no clue. I mean, totally, which sounds so ridiculous. I mean, I'm in the video business, but I had no clue about what was happening on YouTube. All I know is that, we had this idea, and I like the internet. I like the idea of the internet. I like the idea of Facebook. And I was like, wow, this is like, we have platforms now to put, you don't have to buy airtime, and you can put something out there to the world that you want out there. But that's all I really knew. So I'm like, all right, well, I'm going to make this thing and just put it out there. Had no really idea, no clue as far as how to really reach people. All I knew is that, okay, there's that YouTube. We'll put it on YouTube, blah, blah, blah. We didn't know really what was happening on YouTube. And so we didn't go about it the right way. YouTube in particular, you really got to water that thing. You got to feed and water it, and now I have a better understanding of how to do everything, social media just in general. But I really feel that another fishing show YouTube page, we sat that thing, like we took too long between uploads, because we were like, well, who cares? And it's almost like the algorithm, because we had there was such a length of time between uploads, was like, these guys, it just seemed like it was like it was like just I don't know. It was like had a curse on it, from the YouTube algorithm,
Yeah.
So I was like, I had the other thing too was that with another fishing show wasn't about selling product. It wasn't trying to like beat you over the head with tips all the time. Mm-hmm. And it was more of like this everyman, relatable, want to focus on characters and storylines. And so we couldn't really get into, like I was talking to you earlier, there's all these people out there that want to learn, right?
Sure,
so I felt like we weren't able to reach a broader audience, So I had this idea of having angling uploaded as this bigger umbrella where another fishing show would be a show. You can think of it like a network, like ABC, NBC, CBS or something.
Sure.
So another fishing show would be a show within that network, and we could have other programming on there. So that's where we're going with it. Could it be a colossal mistake? Sure, but it's not like, what's the? We weren't going anywhere before, so.
Yeah, as long as you're having fun doing it,
And that's exactly right. I mean, I've gotten to a point where, and I'll be completely honest, you can get real lost in worrying about views,
for sure.
And I'm like, I got to a point, I think I'm much better now where I'm like, I don't just, you're not going to be able to sustain, if you want this to be something that has any legs, you're not going to, you cannot sustain if it's not something that you're enjoying. It's not sustainable if it's not something that you're enjoying doing.
Well, and you want legit views too. I mean, you don't want like the clickbait stuff.
Right. Oh, we'll do a couple clickbait. We'll do some bikini ice fishing clickbait.
Oh. It's a fishing show. You got
no. But no, absolutely right. So I mean, yeah, it's. What do you think about what's going on? Is it not unbelievable to you? Like what it's fascinating to me. I have a love-hate relationship with it, quite frankly.
Yeah. Honestly, YouTube makes me feel really old. Because it seems like YouTube today is kind of a young man's game.
Yeah.
You got the like Sobey and Murray and Scott Mackner with 330 Maniac, who's a good buddy of mine, and I know that he's out there fishing and filming 2 times a week at least.
Wow.
And he's taken off days of work just so he can meet the requirements of what YouTube needs for him to keep going up,
And how is he doing?
He's doing good.
Yeah.
He's growing real quick.
Good.
And he's a super nice guy, super good and humble.
Yeah.
So it's good to see. But yeah, like I was saying, I kind of think YouTube is getting to be a young man's game, and maybe we're too old.
Well, how old are you? I know. Look, I was like, so I film. I have a studio here in my basement, but so I film for Wild West Bass Trail. Myself in my studio, and I was looking at the footage just recently, and I was like, holy hell, do I have a lot of gray in my beard? I was like, what in the hell, dude? And honestly, my birthday's in like 3 days, man. Well, not 3 days exactly. The 17th. I'm going to be 44 years old.
That's the same as my dad's.
Yeah. How old are you, 23rd. If you don't mind me?
I'll be 40 on the 23rd.
Oh, see, you're a young buck, man.
But my beard doesn't.
Yeah, it's odd. You're like a Thundercat, man. Remember the Thundercats? That's what I'm starting to. I'm getting gray, and I know it's crazy. So I do think of, okay, so I'm 44. Listen, I remember when I was younger, and a 40-year-old was like ancient.
Right.
I
always thought of them people as being like, oh man, like the over the hill things, but like, yeah, they're half dead.
Yeah. And I'm like, oh crap, I'm like I'm about to be in my technically my mid 40s, I think, right? And so here I am trying to like get this YouTube thing going, you know, and then I see guys like Murray and see like Sobe. I've met Sobe before, and Alex Perrick, you know. And there's a part of me that's just kicking myself that I wasn't doing YouTube in like 2011 or something when it really seemed to fire, you know. But at the same time, I was like, well, hell, what? I had a job.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean, the
would
kids
I have
today,
done that?
with all the platforms they have and stuff, it's pretty amazing, like what they can do, and you know, some of these people like making careers off of it.
Yeah.
It's crazy. It's a crazy time as far as technology and the freedom to you know, put your own show out and stuff like that without being on a major scale.
Yeah, so you know, I'm trying to focus on things that I really enjoy. I've always in college my major was broadcasting, you know, so which is kind of a big umbrella. It covers video and anything broadcasting, radio. I've always really enjoyed radio, and so podcasting being on the other side, which is obviously there's video podcasts, but also more so audio. I'm like, okay, well, YouTube. Obviously, you have to be consistent with YouTube. And I don't want to be consistent and hate doing it. You know what I mean? I want it to be something that...
you don't want it to become work.
Right. I mean, I have a job, you know. Yeah. Luckily now, I have more free time as a freelancer. You know, there's... I'm real fortunate in that respect. But so I can pursue this. But it's also got to be something... I saw a quote from someone recently that said like the secret to success on like social media, you know, is consistency, and the secret to consistency is just really enjoying what you're doing. Exactly. So to me, you know, I'd like to get to a point where I'm doing podcasts like this weekly. So I still need to set up the audio portion for like iTunes and all that stuff, but and then, so basically have a video podcast for YouTube, and then try to get out fishing once a week, and then also do the Another Fishing Show episodes. Honestly, I want to get the Another Fishing Show episodes up like once a month, to be honest. I just got to figure, I need to work with Pete. Pete is like MIA because of his grocery store business. He lost his butcher. And I don't even know if I should be telling people this. And his so he also lost a manager. So he's just swamped with the holidays, and it's like we haven't fished together. It's like people are thinking that we've had a divorce, you know. But well, no,
you know, I did the podcast thing for a while too, and the buddy I was doing it with, he lives up in Bemidji. And me and him were working complete opposite schedules. But when we first started, we were, you know, we had the same schedules. And so we were able to bump out a few shows. And then it just was like pulling teeth to try to find time to make them times line up. And that's when we just decided to hang her up. Yeah. You know,
it's really difficult, too, because you kind of have to start these things. I mean, there's different ways to start on social media business or whatever you want to call this. But this, I mean, it seems to me you kind of have to start it though, like just making. I mean, there's no. I guess there's a lot of businesses like this. I mean, where it's, you know, there's no. You're not going to be making anything. You're not going to be making any money. You've got to be doing this because it's something, you know. And for me, you know, I mean, there is a lot of excitement, joy that comes from just putting something out there and then people responding well to it, you know. So that's incentive in itself, but. Looking at how this thing progresses in the future, I personally can't stand like hawking product, you know, or and I like the idea of basically your viewers funding you or people that like what you're doing, support you. They support you with a donation or something. I like that business model. And I know that's probably a more difficult business model, at least starting out. But the thing what I kind of get scared isn't the right word. I'm apprehensive about, just having sponsors, and obviously this is way putting the cart before the horse, but just in general, I like the idea of just being completely honest with people. And if you get a sponsorship or something, you're kind of like, well, I can't really say anything good about another product that might be out there.
Yeah.
And I like
the lock you in.
What's that?
It does lock you in.
It locks you in, and I've been around this business long enough where I don't give a crap about, like I'm sponsored or I'm on a pro staff, or honestly, I really don't care. Be honest. I like to be able to just completely, like, if there's something that I don't like, if there's something that I like, just be completely honest with the audience. So I don't know. I'm going off on a tangent here a little bit, but
well, no, and like you brought up, like the whole pro staff thing, and that's something that's really changed over the past, 4 or 5 years, completely. I know it's kind of a touchy subject sometimes, but I think that there's a lot of companies that have taken advantage of this.
Yes.
And have created their own market of pretty much like a glorified customer.
Hey, dude, it's an army of guys. Here I go. I got to be careful too, because it's an army. They've created an army of guys that aren't doing like, maybe I might be talking out of turn. Tell me if you agree. Tell me if I'm out of control here. It seems to me that there are guys out there that just would love to wear a hat or a jersey and will do anything for these companies. Like, I mean, promote the hell out of these companies for nothing.
For sure. Yeah.
And it's just like, no thanks. Nah. If anything, I'm like, I would wear an Angling Uploaded hat, or because I like you, Andy, and what you're doing, an Ice Fishing Minnesota or something. What the hell am I going to wear some hat for a product that it's one thing if you really like a product. I get all that. Yeah. But if you're if you're trying to be like it's almost like, I just feel like these companies are kind of preying on some of these individuals. Am I out of line?
No, I don't think so. And like, especially like this, I don't know if we should say names or whatever, but like this NPS, this National Pro Staff or whatever, where they're like charging people to apply to be a pro staff. Like, that just blows my mind.
They're charging people to apply for a pro staff?
Yeah.
So tell me how this works. I don't even know what this is. I have heard of MPS before.
Yeah, I haven't looked.
Let's just honestly, you know what the problem with fishing is people are always walking on eggshells in this damn industry, and we don't. Everybody's like, oh God, I don't want to offend everybody, and and here's the thing, I'm kind of, my whole job is based in this industry, so there's some things where I can't go, you know what I mean? But at the same time, to me, it's like, it's so boring to listen to people that are just watching what they have to say because they don't want to offend anybody, I see that happens all the time in fishing. So with that being said, say as much as you're comfortable with saying, but feel free to go right up to the edge.
Well, no, it just, for me, it's like every company that I've worked with, because I'm on pro staffs and sponsored or whatever you want to call it.
Right.
But, every company that I've worked with, I've really loved their products.
Yep.
At some point, it might have gotten to a point where I just wasn't as into the direction they were going, or found something better and went that route. But I think I don't have a problem with people, promoting what they use, promoting what they love, and, having fun with it and stuff like that. But I think that there's a lot of people that, they'll jump on ship with anybody who will take them, specifically just to have that title. And they look at it as kind of, getting their foot in the door. And I understand it, like who doesn't want to work in the fishing industry, as a fisherman. But like I said, I think that there's a lot of companies and stuff that have picked up on that and do kind of prey on people.
Yeah, I don't like it. And
every company that I work with, I like to be really hands-on with as much as possible and involved with, I don't want to, just have that title and, okay, Andy, go post pictures, go do this, do that, go pump us up. Like, I don't, that's not what I'm in it for. Like, I like the product testing, and I like the, maybe, helping to design and suggestions of how to make this better and that better. Like, that's the old school pro staff.
Exactly. As long as, to me, it's mutually beneficial.
Sure.
It's not one-sided.
And yeah, and it's not something like, I've never looked at being in the fishing industry that it's like it's going to make me rich or make me money or anything like that. It all comes back to just having fun with it.
Right. That's exactly right. And that's, that's the number one thing to kind of have in your head is just to have fun with it. And, if it down the road, you start making money at it, that's awesome, but you got to have fun with it.
Yeah, it's just a perk, know. Me anyway,
Yeah. So I'm kind of on the pro staff of New Canoe, and they're a fantastic company. I think the world of the owner, and just everybody there. It's a small company, and honestly, I think their product, they make the best kayaks, at least for what I need to do.
Sure.
But I haven't told them this yet, but I'm gonna not be on the pro staff anymore because, number one, I feel like I've done a terrible job for them. I'm not good at I'm hardly good at promoting what we're doing here, so honestly, I don't think they're getting anything, really. Well, they are, because in my videos, I'm in a New Canoe and I tell people how great they are and everything. But the other reason is that I just don't. I want to be completely honest. If there's a kayak that comes out, that I think is just, wow, this is really something that I people should be looking into, I want to be able to say that this kayak looks really awesome, and I don't want to feel like I'm offending New Canoe. So I actually need to write them a letter just saying that, it's. But I've hardly been. I'm like just. I haven't done much with the company really, but.
Well, I think that, a person still can be on a staff and have a voice of, or an opinion of something else that looks cool or nice, without.
And yeah, and for the record, New Canoe they totally are, and I think probably more than anything, I'm a free bird, man.
Yeah.
I don't want to have any connections. I just want to just focus on. I don't know, dude. I'm all over the place. That's part of my problem. Sorry to cut you off.
Well, no, that's no problem. And I got a big mouth sometimes.
Right on.
And so I mean, I don't have problem. Telling somebody that if I've had a bad experience with a product, that I didn't care for it.
Yeah.
And it's all important. The way that a person has. I mean, you got to do it professionally. You can't just be like, oh, that was a piece of blah 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 or whatever. But what might not work for you or what you might not like might work good for somebody else.
Hey, by the way, the fact that you just swore there, I really appreciate it. So it, I'm going to start swearing now.
All right, that sounds good.
Okay, so go ahead. I'm sorry to cut you off.
But no, I mean, like I was saying, what doesn't work for you and what you might not like might work a lot better for somebody else.
Right. Right.
And stuff. And a person just got to be honest with that. Otherwise people see through the phoniness, you know, especially like on social media and stuff. You know, they're not fooling anybody. And, you know, people can tell who the people are that are out fishing and actually using these products versus the people who are just going to these pages or going to their companies that they work for, getting some stuff and sharing it.
Right.
You know, original content is always the best.
Yeah, I agree. I've always enjoyed people that were just straight shooters, you know.
Sure.
And
when I was in school, they used to say it was, and they labeled me as oppositionally defiant.
Oppositionally defiant.
Yeah. Just because go against the grain if I had to.
Dude, that's man, I think we're gonna be good friends, dude.
Yeah.
I can't stand. I have a real problem with the mainstream a lot of times. And as far as like, I shouldn't. I not for the sake. I don't know. I'm of a similar ilk. I'd say. I don't. I wouldn't say I'm cynical. I can be. I would say I'm realistic. There's a lot of. I don't know. I can be very positive, but I also, when I see bullshit, I like to call out the bullshit. I try not to. You know, I do my best not to be a part of the problem with and fishing's got some real nonsense in it. I love it. But yeah, I just, when it comes to kind of the pro staff thing, there's a lot of nonsense there. So I'd rather just kind of not do any of it and just languish in obscurity.
Yeah,
and I don't
be that free bird
in my basement here, man. Just talking to you and a couple other people. It's great. Just kidding. There'll be more than a couple people listening to this. Fingers crossed.
We'll pump it up.
We'll pump it up. Yeah, but we don't want it to be too pushy because if we're too pushy, then we're part of the people that we complain about, right? Right, Lord. So
you can never win.
Yeah, you never win. That's the bane of my existence, sir. But so I was walking around. I'm checking my notes here because I don't want to forget anything. So I'm walking around the St. Paul Ice Fishing Show, and number one, I only was able to go onto one floor. So I got 4 video shots. This is kind of cool though. Like I had ideas for shooting a ton of videos, but people kept stopping me that I've worked with in the past, you know, and we just bull for a long time. And I'm like, well, I'm not going to stop a conversation with but eventually I was able to shoot. I think I got 4 videos, and one's already. By the time that we put this podcast up, one for sure will already be up on our YouTube channel. But I was only able. This thing's so big, I was only able to go on one floor of it, of the St. Paul Ice Fishing Show, and so I missed a ton. I mean, I guess I could have went Saturday or Sunday, but it just would have been so crowded. And like you're talking, I think you said this during our podcast here, that you don't like crowds?
No, I'm not a big crowds guy. No.
Yeah, so I'm not really either. In fact, if I go into a Walmart or something and there's just this large, you know, open space, I start to get like this weird, almost like it's like this weird kind of panic attack kind of stuff on big.
I'm the same way. And it's funny that you said Walmart, because Walmart is probably one of my biggest triggers places. I don't know if it's the lighting or what. Yeah. But I can go in there even when it's slow and like still feel uncomfortable.
Do you get like kind of like tunnel vision almost?
A little bit. Yeah, I just get the feeling of like I need to get out, you know, like, hurry up, grab my and get out.
Right. Yeah, so I go in this mega river center, St. Paul River Center, you know, and then I'm like, all right, well, I want to film I bought a microphone so I could, like a hand mic, so I could talk to people, about their different products and stuff. Products that I thought were interesting
Well, it's such a great opportunity for that because everybody's under one roof.
Right. But I was also kind of like a little nervous, because I'm like, well, first of all, I've never done this kind of filming where I'm setting up, the shot and then also interviewing people, and I'm worried about the camera work. But also I've got that same thing you got, man. I'm like in big areas like that, and I mean, I'm not one of these guys. I can talk in front of big people, or big crowds and stuff, but it's not something that's like just comes naturally, I force myself to just be able to do it. So yeah, it was a little nerve-wracking, you know. But there, I only scratched the surface of what was available at the ice show, and I'm curious what you've seen, like, is particularly. I mean, it can be in the last couple of years, but in particular, what you've seen kind of coming out this year that's kind of exciting, whether it's lures or new equipment or whatever.
One thing that really fascinates me is, and it happens to be a good buddy of mine from high school as well. But he's come out with these sunglasses, and the company's called Relevant.
Mm-hmm.
And it has like this anti-glare technology, and the lenses will change to the different tones of what you need for like fishing and hunting as the sun goes up to when it goes back down.
Really? So it's like those transition lenses kind of?
Yep. I don't know all the technical. He talks to me in all these technical terms about it, and I tell him to explain it to me like I'm 8 years old so I can understand.
Yeah.
But no, they're crazy. Like, I mean, now I probably got some glare on my glasses, and with them on there, I mean, you can damn near shine a flashlight on them and they won't have any reflection.
Really?
And, and then he also come up with they're called concealment lenses.
Hmm.
And then he come out with, like this sunscreen UV blocker stuff for hunters. And he had me stand in front of the screen, and, my face was all shiny and all that stuff. Well, I put this sunscreen on my face, and it like turned my whole face black, like for these UVs.
Really?
Yeah. And then I put the sunglasses on, but then you like looked at me without being in this UV lens, and it was just normal,
right.
You couldn't see anything on my face.
So you're saying that particularly for hunting?
It's for like he has a fishing line too, but like that lotion was for like a hunting, like like a lot for bird hunting.
Okay, I gotcha.
Like turkeys and stuff like that. But
I like the idea of having a pair of sunglasses and these are polarized sunglasses.
Yep.
That. Yeah. You don't need, like, people say, well, I like an amber lens if it's cloudy, than a gray lens if it's sunny. And meanwhile, like, there's $150 sunglasses or whatever for, I like the idea of having a lens that's like, it's in particular with, what am I trying to say? With the light level, it's adjusting to the light level. Is that?
Yeah. So, I mean, so you don't need, like, it's like a one glasses for everything.
Right.
Instead of, like they'll say, the red lens or the blue lens and, the ambers and stuff like this for different light conditions. You could have 5 glasses in your boat. And I'm not, I got regular glasses, so I don't wear sunglasses a ton, but I was able to get some prescription ones from him, like right when he first started out, because he wanted me just to try them out, and they're unreal. Like, that's one of the things that that really kind of made me step back a little bit and was just like, whoa, this has come a long way.
So they're called Relevant?
Yeah. Yep. It's
Relevant.
RLVNT.
Do you know how people can find them?
They're right on Facebook.
Okay.
Yeah. The owner's name is Adam Winkleman.
Okay. Related to Babe at all?
What's that?
Related to Babe Winkleman?
Yeah, he is.
Is
actually.
he?
Yeah.
Is he really?
Yeah.
Right on.
Yeah. Babe Winkleman, he grew up about 2 miles from where my parents live.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, and I was friends with his nieces and nephews, and his brother was good friends with them, and his dad owned a gun shop right there. So
no kidding. Yeah, I've never met Babe, unfortunately. I've been close to him. You know who else has really driven me nuts? I've never met is Al Lindner.
Oh yeah.
I've never met Al, and I mean, I think the world of Al Lindner, and what he's created, but I've never met those.
He's a good guy.
Yeah. That's awesome. So Relevant is the name of the sunglass company.
Yeah, and I don't want to come off like too.
Sounds like this is a commercial, Andy.
Right?
I'm just kidding.
Right? No, but yeah, I mean, even if he wasn't like one of my buddies, it's just something that I try him on and like. You come up with this? Like, you went to the same school I went to.
Same public school.
Yeah, right? How does this work?
Yeah, right. That's great. Well, it sounds like you've got a lot of free time. You don't worry. Not that I don't know if you want anybody to know this, but it sounds like you're pretty successful, I'd say. You've got a lot of time to fish, man. That's kind of.
Well, and that's another thing too, I guess, about why like I ice fish more than summer fish is I work at a country club. I'm actually sitting in the clubhouse.
Oh, are you really? Right on.
Right now. Yeah.
Nice.
And so I'm pretty much busy all summer, work 6 days a week.
Yep.
Doing
I see. Okay.
that stuff.
I see.
Babysitting the park here.
Gotcha. So winter is your free time. Winter's when you've got a lot of free time. That's awesome. Right on. That makes sense.
Yeah, it works out good for me.
So are there any lures in particular that you've seen that are pretty exciting? I got to tell you this personally, and you see it just in general in fishing, and I've said this not to be a name dropper, but I was having this long conversation with Gary Parsons at the ice show. Mm-hmm. And I've worked with Gary a ton, started working with Gary at Bass Pro Shops and then with The Next Bite. But we've got a history there. And Gary is a talker, and I love it because he's always very candid, but he's just blown away as I am as far as just how, there's so many lures now that are so much more detailed. Every lure has super sharp hooks. I mean, the packaging is awesome. Dude, I remember growing up, lures kind of look like
Yeah.
And then I think what a lot of it had to do with like the Japanese getting into I don't know, like in bass fishing in particular, like Lucky Craft, and I think a lot of it we have to thank the Japanese for it, because Gamakatsu was the first like super sharp hook, and then the detailed lures. But I'm just impressed to see it. Obviously, in open water fishing, there's so many different kinds of lures. New genres coming out, but also just the detail and super sharp hooks. I kind of feel like in just lures, but also in equipment, we're kind of living in a golden age of fishing.
Sure.
And you see it also coming into ice fishing.
Oh,
you know? You see these, some awesome, like, I don't even know what you would call this new genre of like, there's a ton of these like vertical / horizontal, you can fish them both ways, kind of. What you know what I'm talking about? These like jigging wrap kind of style.
Yeah. Well, and that's what I was going to say is like the Kenders come out with these new, I forgot what they're called. They're just these little hard bodied, like a lipless crank.
Yeah. And
they're a 1/64th scale.
Right.
But they're like super detailed.
Amazing.
It's pretty crazy.
So, what are you seeing as far as lures that's exciting to you in the ice world? Like
you said, the Kenders ones were something that I thought was cool. There's a custom builder that he'll post on the page every once in a while, and Slayer Jigs is what his is called, and just how he's been working with the glow. is crazy. You know, and the advancements of glow has been ridiculous. And like, there's the Venom.
Yeah, I was going to say Venom. Have you ever talked to that guy?
Oh yeah, Corey.
Yeah, that dude's pretty badass, man.
Yeah,
I talked to him up at show St. Cloud a couple months ago, I guess it was, and just talking about his stuff. I mean, you could tell he's passionate. I mean, the attention to detail, in his stuff. I mean, it's awesome.
Yeah. Well, and I get excited for plastics.
Right, and that was the next thing I was going to ask you about. And I think this is a great topic because, especially in ice fishing, especially up north, I think there's been such live bait culture where it's like, well, the only way you got to use the live bait.
Yeah.
And I'm come from really a bass background. I mean, I didn't start bass fishing. I started just, fishing for anything. But bass fishing, God forbid you would ever use live bait. I mean, So when I see guys now going, oh, yeah, no, I use almost exclusively like soft plastics in ice fishing, or you're even seeing it just in general more in walleye fishing.
Yeah.
It's pretty fascinating.
Yeah.
Go.
I'm just a plastics junkie like now, and plastics are kind of unique where you have to build a confidence in yourself and using plastics to really be sold on them, especially if you're a live bait fanatic. And my dad was a strictly live bait guy until just a couple of years ago, and in the summer, we'd be using like the gulps and the trigger X's and stuff like that are scented, and you just be like, wow, like this works just as good as like a real minnow or a real waxy or whatever, but yet you can catch how much fish more off of them. And but I don't think without me being confident using plastics and putting them on there that he ever would have like walked by them in the store and been like, oh, I'm going to buy them, and you try them for panfish or whatever. But as I'm getting sidetracked, but
no, I get sidetracked all the time. Don't feel bad.
But no, for winter, it's they're still fairly new, to the game.
Well, that's what I noticed too at the ice show, man. There's a lot of. In fact, I did a video with Euro Tackle and some of their offerings, and their soft plastics. They got a whole. I know they're a newer company, and they've got a bunch of like soft plastics and stuff, little soft plastics. That's what's really cool to see in ice fishing is these little detailed soft plastics that are trying to imitate the little creatures that they're eating, the fish are eating this time of year. That's really fascinating. The scuds and whatnot, bloodworms and things like that. What's your favorite soft plastics out there?
My favorite is, I'm a big fan of the Northlands plastics. I use them a lot, but my absolute favorite is a company. They just changed their name. They used to be called Hook Setter. Now they changed it to like Northwood Brands or something like that. And they're just a little, looks like a mousy grub with a tail on it, but the scent that they put on them have just worked crazy for me.
No kidding. They have a special name for it or anything?
Somebody had told me that they call it donkey sauce.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you call it donkey sauce?
Yeah. But I don't know. And I got put on them a couple of years ago, and they're unbelievable.
That's
especially
awesome
for panfish.
So I am a big believer. Anybody that's watched, my videos where I'm smallmouth fishing, they've probably heard me say it way too much, but I'm such a believer in power bait. soft plastics.
Yeah.
But not all power bait is the same. Like, I open up a package and it's got to smell a certain way. There's some color formulations that don't have this smell that's right, you know?
Yep.
But I when I was like 17, I fished this Cory, just fishing from the bank, that had smallmouth in it. Really deep Cory, southern Minnesota, clear, I mean, super clear. And you could not, it was very hard to catch smallmouth on just regular artificials, you know, like I'd try to catch them on just like a Texas rigged worm or something, you know, or I may have thrown a tube a little bit. Very, very hard to catch. And one time I put on a 7-inch power worm, and dude, I'm telling you, it was like night and day difference. It was, I mean, they were actually attracted to it. They were attracted to it, and then they would eat it because they thought it smelled real, and then they'd hold on longer. It sounds like a commercial. I mean, it's that opened up my eyes that it's no gimmick. Like, Berkeley power bait is real. And then I was in a bass club in Pennsylvania. I used to live in Pennsylvania, and there were these holes in this club that would get a bite. Okay, I was fishing with one of them one time, watching them do this. This is what they do. They use exclusively like power bait, and the fish would bite, and they would open up the bail and just feed them line. And it was like 15 seconds, and then they close the bail and set the hook. They'd all be gut hooked, and then that way they knew they'd never lose a fish. Now, that's a terrible use of power bait, but it was like these fish think it's, you know, So for me, when it comes to soft plastics, I even said this in a Instagram post or something recently, where I'm like, I'm done using any other soft plastic, and I probably am not. But the fact that fish are attracted to it, particularly smallmouth. Everybody thinks that smallmouth are such great sight feeders, which they are, but they're just badass all around senses. Yeah. They also have amazing sense of smell. I think more so than largemouth, maybe. I don't know that for sure. But so bringing this back to like ice fishing soft plastics, the thing with so I see with power bait, you know, you're getting that attraction factor, but also when they grab it, you have a little bit of like, you could, you know, most of us are, you know, we can be idiots. I know I'm paying attention to something, you know, I'm looking at a bird or something or whatever, and I may have missed a hit, or my line might have moved off a little bit. I should have been paying attention. You know, a lot of plastics, the fish will spit it out.
Yeah, realize they've been fooled.
Yeah, the power bait, you get a little bit of dumb time there where you can kind of saves you, or you can still set the hook. So, but with that being said, there's drawbacks to it in that it's not as supple, you know. So the action in general, I think there are soft plastics out there that have, you know, that have a more subtle, more like, I guess a subtle action's a good way, but it's more pliable, you know. Yeah. Power bait's a little stiff in some ways, and then you also you don't have the color combinations, you know, so that's kind of the drawback to it. But I don't know. But with you know, I'm seeing some of these ice fishing. I know like Mackie Plastics, I guess Clam has Mackie Plastics now, you know, and I don't know if those are hand poured or not. Have you ever used any of those Mackie Plastics?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. They're all, I believe that they're all hand poured by Scott. What's his last name?
Mackie?
No, I think it's Brewer.
Oh, okay. Matt Brewer's doing that? Not Matt Brewer from...
No.
I didn't think so.
No. And I might have completely... it's Scott.
Oh, okay.
Scott's his first name.
Okay.
Yeah, and I believe he's from... He's from out of state, yeah.
I may have worked with him
somewhere
before. So I went on a tangent about power bait, but there's a lot, you know, there's a lot of soft plastics in ice fishing now that are really exciting, really detailed, just like in the hard baits, you know. And and trying to replicate what fish are eating this time of year in the winter. So,
Well, that's the key to fishing, is always match the hatch, no matter where you're at. So, it's cool to see all the different shapes and designs and details and all that stuff that's coming out, each year with the ice fishing plastics, and they keep getting smaller and smaller, which is, in my opinion, really good.
Yeah.
I totally forgot when you asked me what my favorite plastic was, and it's the Berkeley Gulp.
Yeah. It is your. So yeah. So
the little ones that come in the jars, the little 1.5 inch emerald shiners or whatever, like them are what sold me on plastics.
Oh, really? The Gulp did?
Yeah, because for the longest time I was just like, whatever. I especially for panfish, I figured that they didn't have the smell and stuff like that. But, them sold me, and I still go through jars like crazy in the summer.
Yeah, it's Berkeley. They're one of my favorite companies in fishing. There's such a history with Berkeley, and then they got bought out like everything with Pure Fishing and whatnot. But Berkeley, the original Berkeley, Spirit Lake, Iowa, they're such innovators. I mean, particularly with scent. I mean, you can't argue that,
Yeah.
And
I got a funny question for you.
Yeah.
Have you used this Gulp before? Like the smaller comes in the little jars filled with the liquid.
I've not. I don't know if I've ever used it in the jars. Maybe I have. I can't remember.
My buddies always give me crap about it, and I probably shouldn't even be saying it. But
yes, you should.
You go and hook your bait or whatever, and maybe you go and eat a sandwich afterwards or whatever. Well, have tasted that Gulp to the point where I'm just like, lick my finger.
You liked it?
No, and I'll go and stick my finger in the jar and see if that's what I'm tasting. This stuff is like super sweet.
It's sweet.
Yeah,
really?
It's like I swear it's like a sugar oil.
A sugar oil. And I would have never thought that.
I've told like my buddies, like, just try it. Quit being a pansy and just try it.
A sugar oil.
I've gotten a couple to actually do it, and they're just like, wow, like you're right. It's nothing like I'm not going to sit there and drink it, but like the way the stuff smells.
Was it like hummingbird food? Like what they put in the? They're just putting hummingbird feeder.
But I mean,
food.
it smells terrible. So you.
Oh yeah, it smells like the skankiest skank smell ever.
Yeah,
and that's why I like it though. I'm like, this stuff works, man.
Yeah,
it's like 100 times, maybe not 100 times, but 50 times smellier than power bait. I'm like, crap. Yeah, Gulp's the like supercharged compared to Berkeley power bait. I was hoping. I wasn't hoping. I was worried that you were going to say it tastes like dill pickle juice or something, and I'd be like, "Oh hell, I'm going to drink that then."
Yeah,
that's a problem. I love dill pickle juice. I'm like,
but no, it was just so surprising with how it smells and yeah, and it's something. It's kind of an ongoing joke with me and some of my staff on the page and stuff. You're just like, yeah, Andy the Gulp drinker, and
well, I'm going to have to test it out now.
I think you should do a video on it.
First, hey, you know what? Somehow that could be I could see that being a big YouTube video.
Kind of a taste test.
Got to do the right kind of clickbait thumbnail.
You puking.
Somehow work in a girl in a bikini. I don't know. A lot of have to think about that one. How long do you have to talk, by the way? How long can we talk here?
As long as you want.
Okay. Because I like just going off on tangents here. Wherever, is it... So one thing that kind of bothers me, and I know this is kind of stupid because, heck, everything's made in China, nowadays. But what are your thoughts on, particularly like these companies making ice houses, pop-ups and fold-outs, whatever the hell you call these different, fish shacks now. I sound like a real noob saying this. Like what am I talking about? The pop-outs. What's the technical term for
hubs?
Yeah, hub shelters, hub-style shelters, and then the original, clam, like the fold. What's that's
pullovers?
Pullover.
Yeah.
Golly, what an idiot. One of the things that's kind of driven me crazy a little bit is that, and granted, I'm not a very do-it-yourself person, but one of the biggest absolute pains in my ass was putting together my pullover shelter. Oh, yeah. And I'm like, as much as I'm paying for this thing, shouldn't this already be assembled? I mean, seriously. And then the other thing, everybody's going around acting so, like I've had some problems with build quality.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I know that there's a lot of people making a lot of good money on ice fishing, now, and being quite successful. But there's a part of me, I fantasize that a company would come out and just listen, there are fishermen that are spending gobs and gobs of money on high-end boats. I mean, high-end everything. Let's face it. Fishermen will spend money. Now, I'm not saying that there shouldn't be alternatives. There should be more economical alternatives, But I would love to see a company come out that made a product that was a high-end hub-style shelter or pullover that was maybe already put together but was made in America, And people go, well, but that's so expensive, and, how are you going to... And I think about a company, most of my camera equipment, I have these bags made by a company called Portabrace, and they're based out of Vermont and completely made in Vermont. Custom bags. I mean, and they're made out of canvas. In a lot of ways, it looks exactly like a lot of the fabric that are used in some of these shelters, Yeah. And I'm like, well, why can this company in Vermont, make these great bags? They've got a reputation as just like bulletproof, but I mean, just very well made, and also made in America. Instead of here, everybody's proud to be an American, but we're completely fine with having everything made in China, and a lot of that stuff comes back and it's garbage. I mean, it's garbage. I've had things that I'm like, what is this? How is this falling apart right now? I spent how much money? Am I wrong feeling this?
I think, being American, that we want to see everything be made in America. I think that's just something about being proud of where we're from.
Well, it's not so much about being American. It's just the fact that if you're going to make it overseas at least, and I know it's less expensive, but make sure that it's not crap. Yeah,
they got to have some sort of quality control. Yeah. The things that kind of irk me are, and I couldn't even tell you the company's names if I wanted to, but like, they'll have, buy this hub and it comes with a sled and it comes with an auger and it'll be like $400, which is a really good deal. But the part that I have a problem with is like, there's such crappy quality, and, I've seen it with, sand, like sandblasting sand inside the motors after, they quit working, and seams breaking and sleds cracking and all stuff. It's just low quality junk. But the people that they're aiming it at are the people who are new to fishing.
Right.
So the part that like kind of like worries me or kind of irks me is that they're preying on these people that they see a good deal. They see everything that they need all in one kit, and then they buy it, and it's just a piece of
right.
And then they think, well, I'm not going to get into ice fishing if this is how everything works.
Right.
And that's what irks me a lot.
Sure.
But no, I mean, there's definitely different levels of quality.
I kind of equate it to like a boat builder. We've got all these great boat companies made here where, they're high end boats. So, I mean, not all of them. I mean, Tracker, makes, more economically priced boats or whatever. But they are built here. It would be nice to see a company in ice fishing making ice fishing shelters here, I guess, is just what I'd love to see that. And you could totally market it that way. That could be a huge aspect of your marketing campaign, that it's built here. And you could have like the workers featured, and they can sign off on, like, they could sign every, I don't know, sign every shelter, that could be part of selling the product. Yeah, you pay a premium price, but it's also, we really make sure everything's, it's just been a fantasy of mine.
As far as I know, I believe Otter's all made in America. I know that I've been to their plant a few times and seen how they make the roto-molded sleds.
I'm not surprised by that. Who's your favorite?
What's that?
Who's your favorite?
My favorite house? There's a lot of good houses on the market. Otters are probably my favorite.
Yeah, I think they're mine too. I think if I was to get they're
very well built, and I mean, you can have an otter and have the same one for 15 years. Yeah,
that's good. I like that.
Yeah.
I still got to build the damn thing though.
Well, the new ones they've come out with, because I got a new house last year with the side doors, and they had made it where you snap the poles together instead of screwing them together. So I had the house done in like 45 minutes.
Oh, I'm liking that.
Yeah.
That's a big deal, man.
Oh, I hate putting houses
together.
Oh,
God. I did with... I've got...
over and... Yeah.
Oh, dude, I have this Nanook that my in-laws bought me, this clam Nanook. It's not even a thermal. It's worked good for me, but... I guess I've had it for, I don't know, 7 years now or something like that. Putting that together, and that's a kind of just a regular, there's nothing fancy about it, shelter. Dude, that was such a pain in the ass putting that thing together.
Yeah.
Such a pain. So I'm almost like holding on to that shelter, for longer than maybe I should, just because I don't want to have to build another one.
Well, and it seems like the smaller the houses, the harder they are to put together.
Is that true? You've obviously have more experience in that.
I think so.
Interesting, yeah.
Again, maybe I'm just weird, but it seems like the bigger the house, the easier it is to
Yeah, it kind of makes sense. What
That's what's nice about the hubs. You buy them and they're just in the bag.
I know. More and more, fishing with Pete, for sturgeon on the St. Croix, he had bought one. Dude, that thing's the way to go, man. Yeah. I don't even know why. I mean, I'm sure there's applications where a pullover or whatever makes more sense, but I just see a hub style shelter making a heck of a lot more sense though overall, just in general. And there's way more space. I don't. What are the benefits of a pullover as opposed to a hub style?
The pullovers are more mobile. You have everything right there in your sled.
Got it.
So you pretty much just pull over, start fishing. Where a hub, you have to set it up and that goes in a sled with your equipment. So then you'll have to carry your equipment in, and I mean they're not as convenient, but they're definitely probably more comfortable and roomy to fish out of.
Right. Obviously, ice fishing's growing, by leaps and bounds. So it's getting, I don't know, do you think it's getting more popular in the last 5 years? It definitely seems.
Yeah, I think so. It's, the whole IFM, or the Ice Fishing Minnesota thing has kind of been, as far as looking at people, it's kind of been a gift and a curse type thing. Because, there's the trolls and
what do you do about them?
We have almost 16,000 people on our ban list.
Wow. And
I mean, that's more than most groups have, just normal members.
Yeah.
And that's,
And what do those people do to be banned?
It's crazy, like the stuff people will say. Racism is huge and disgusting.
Absolutely.
Calling people names, attacking them. Like, I mean, they'll go after their kids, their wives, their like anything. It's just ruthless.
Unbelievable, man. And they're amongst us.
Right?
You ever think about that? They're amongst us, man.
I mean, I can't tell you how many people like that, like even my staff has banned, and I don't even know anything about it, but like I'll get a message, I'll be like, I'm gonna kick your ass and this and that, like because they got banned. And I'll be like, well, why did you get banned? Well, I told so and so that they're a piece of dog poop and they can go
right
F off.
Right.
And I'm just like, well, you don't talk to people like that. It's like, well, I'm gonna kick your ass and blah blah blah.
Yeah. But what a damn idiot.
Yeah. I'm
going to go kick your... And here's the reality, too, and this is the problem with social media. It's like when you're in your car, like we're all in a bubble when we're driving around. And if someone kind of cuts you off or whatever, you just kind of lose your... I mean, I do, be honest. Yeah. But that never happened if you're face-to-face with someone.
Oh, no.
You know? So especially with super assholes, let's call them, the internet is just a place where they can just flex their douchebaggy behavior the most. Where they
have zero repercussions.
Yeah, they don't. They're anonymous basically. You're not. You're not having to say these things face to face to.
Well, and the thing is, if they would say it to people face to face, they'd be getting knocked out every other day.
That's right.
I mean, I don't condone violence or whatever.
Some violence is totally justifiable.
If somebody comes up to me and is talking about my family, like,
yeah, oh yeah,
you might get bopped in the eye. Yeah, but no. So it's made my heart kind of calloused on the look of people, to an extent. But then all of a sudden, there'll be days where I'm just like, oh, I can't put up with this anymore. Like, this is just getting to be too much. And these people, like, I need to take a break and get away. But then something totally awesome and totally opposite of what's going on will happen. Somebody will post up a thing about, oh, I got some extra tackle. If there's a kid in the industry who's just starting out and needs some extra tackle, like, let me know and I'll send this over to you. So like that's the stuff that kind of rejuvenates my faith in humanity.
Right.
And it happens, pretty often.
Good.
And another thing like that I'm, proud of with the pages is the thieves will always, it seems like early in the year, start stealing fish houses and stuff like that. And the page really takes that personally and, joins up and has found, I couldn't even tell you how many fish houses and stuff. It was actually... That's
amazing.
Yeah. Yeah,
that's
they
really,
featured
really
it
cool.
on the news and stuff. So like that's the stuff that is just kind of like, rejuvenates my faith in humanity and people in general.
That's awesome. Looks like I have about 3 minutes and 54 seconds left on record time here. So I want to get a few things in here before we got to go here. So you have the most amazing ice fishing vehicle. It's a mini truck. So it's funny, dude. I used to host a show called Roll With It on the Outdoor Channel. It was a truck show. I have no idea about trucks or anything, but that was the premise behind it. Just throw me into these situations where this idiot doesn't know anything about trucks and, interacts with truck people. And we actually were this close to doing a show on mini trucks.
Oh, yeah.
Or trucks like what you have.
Yeah.
I guess we did do a show on S10s, and lowered and whatever, that kind of. But you have a super mini truck. You had an S10 too?
Oh, yeah, a little lowered S10.
So tell me about the most badass ice fishing vehicle ever.
Ever?
I would say. I think it is. So how'd you buy it? Where'd you find it? You got 2 minutes and 40 seconds.
I had seen just the bare bones truck, real basic, had little pizza cutter tires on it and rims and everything. And I just thought, man, that's, 660 cc's. It's 4-wheel drive. That'd be a pretty cool ice fishing rig. So I ended up buying it from a guy who had it imported up in Brainerd. And then I had bought the ATV tires and the lift and all that stuff, and I wanted tracks. And so I got tracks, and it's, in my opinion, it's probably the ultimate ice fishing rig, just because, it has a heated cab. They're no speed demons by any means with the tracks on them, but you have your bed there and everything, and it's perfect. I actually named my little truck Alice after my grandma. So
nice. Well, yeah. It's an amazing vehicle. I got to see it in person. In fact, I'd like to do a video on it. If you're
anytime.
Open to that.
Yeah.
Also like to fish with you more, and we're not that far away from each other.
Oh.
So let's not be strangers. And it's shaping up. It's looking like it's going to be a great ice fishing season. So where can they find? Just promote anything you'd like to promote. Talk about your pages. Looks like we got 1 minute, 11 seconds left. Right on. You promote as well as I do.
Well, no, I mean, we've talked about everything.
Yeah, check out Ice Fishing Minnesota. It's a fantastic Facebook group, Ice Fishing Minnesota. Lots of members on there, 65,000 members, and Fishing Minnesota. If you've enjoyed the video here, be sure to subscribe to Angling Uploaded. And Andy, I've just really enjoyed it, man. We should do this more. It's been a lot of fun talking with you, man. I appreciate you taking the time.
Thanks for having me on.
All right, man. Take care. Let's do it again soon.
All right, for sure.